G'day and welcome to the next episode of Tech Adapt Crafts. Today we are talking about all things desert scenery. This month's Patreon model is this absolutely beautiful portal. Wonder what we could call it. Gateway to the gods, that's what we're going to call it. Yeah, it might go to stars, it might go to a number of places, but I think a gateway to the gods, that sounds really cool. This model, designed by Ian Lovecraft, is available on Patreon right now. It is the July Patreon model from Tech Adapt Crafts. You can find us at patreon.com/techadaptcrafts. So Ian Lovecraft has designed the model, and he has also designed all the rest of the scenery here. This was actually from his Desert Adventures campaign. The amount of scenery in this pack is insane, and it is beautiful. I'd only printed up a couple of the buildings when I was doing a bit of a test print of them, but this past week I have printed the majority of what you see on this table. The miniatures have all been printed on the resin printer, and the terrains have been printed on the FDM printers. The quality is astounding. I still haven't finished painting up the miniatures, but I wanted to put them there just so you can see the whole scene. This could be played for any number of games. The scenery will work well in sci-fi, it'll work well in fantasy, it'll fit beautifully into a D&D game, which is what I plan to do. Any of my players, don't look too closely. So if you are interested in getting any of this scenery, you can still get them as a late pledge through My Mini Factory under Ian's Feywood campaign. It is one of the late add-on pledges there. I've scratched the surface here. I think I've maybe printed half the scenery that is available. There's still so many more things there, but I think this is as much as I'm going to get to for the moment. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you turn your notifications on so that you never miss an episode of Tech Adapt Crafts. And if you'd like to support the channel, jump on over to Patreon. A substantial amount of the proceeds from Patreon do actually go to support Anala, which is a very worthwhile organization. If you'd like to see some progress shots of how this was being painted up, and as we went through that for this past week, you can jump on over to Instagram and follow Tech Adapt Crafts there. There were a lot of photos that I've been posting up over the past week, and other things as well over the past months, and I'll always be posting up what we're working on at Tech Adapt Crafts up on Instagram. Anyway, sit back, enjoy the tutorial for Gateway to the Gods. Hope that you enjoy it. It is a really fast paint. Enjoy.
So after a undercoat of white spray, we're ready to paint. I'm starting with a very limited color palette here. This is using raw sienna. I paint this over all of the stonework, not over the sand, but just all over the stonework, and that's my base color here. Next up, using a black wash that has actually had some of that raw sienna mixed into it. Not a lot, but just a little. I go over probably the bottom inch to maybe just 2 centimeters worth of the entire model there. Also go along a lot of those major lines where dirt and grime might have caught up. I'm using a straight black mix on the inside of that well just to make it a bit darker. First dry brushing layer, this will be a fairly heavy overbrushing using a yellow oxide. Again, this goes over the entire model, but once you are done that, you then paint the sand using this color. I use burnt umber on the couple of wooden beams that are there. There's not many of them. And once they're dry, I do a mix of burnt umber, yellow oxide, and a titanium color, which you'll see in a moment, to create a little bit of a dry brush for those wooden beams as a mid-tone between this next step. This unbleached titanium is what we're going to use to dry brush over the entire model. Along the tops and along the edges, I go back and do an extra layer just to make the tops of the model a bit lighter. This goes over everything, over the stonework, over the woodwork, and over the sand. I'd like to take a moment now to thank my Patreon subscribers. The full tackle, we have Adam Jenkinson, Ancient Rabbit, Andreas Rocco, David Bennett, David Skiberis, Dwayne C. Israelson, Jean Maguire, Joel Cunningham, Judy Hayes, Kevin Goodrich, Christina B., Lopiana, Michael Togwell, Nightlurker, Sean Rickmeyer, and Tazalanch. A big thank you also to all of the patrons at The Hobby Goodness and Coin for the Bard. Your patronage is what helps this channel running. It also helps to support Anala in their efforts to help disabled people and provide homes for them and activities within the community, which a lot of the proceeds of this Patreon go towards. Moving on now to the portal, I wanted to give a difference to the look of this one, so I've started with a grey, and that's just my plain black and white grey mix that I have. This went all over. While that dries, I'm taking marine blue and painting all of the crystals of the portal opening key, dial home device, whichever you'd like to call it. Then I'm going back with that blue, very watered down, and inputting that into all of the symbols there. I then add some black wash to that watered down blue mix and put it in all of the crevices and around the edges, and then back onto that key in amongst all of the crystals. Once it's completely dry, a dry brush of a light grey is the first step. And then I'm going back and adding a watered down black wash over the top of that. A light dry brushing of that standard blue, that marine blue over the top, and then we start highlighting. First layer this sky blue, and I'm copying the style that I did back in my crystals video long time ago, and going on the corners of each facet. First of all with that sky blue, and then with a lighter blue, which you'll see in a moment. To tie the two pieces together, I'm doing a grey plinth for these crystals to stand on, and then a sand base. I'm just following the same techniques I did earlier in the video. The last little bit of painting to do is a dry brush of that unbleached titanium over the portal, and that helps to tie that in to the other devices. And then you go around with that on the bottom of the key. And that's the painting done. Stick the portal down and you are finished.
There you have it. The painting tutorial for Gateway to the Gods and its little key, or its dial home device for this star portal. Hope that you enjoyed the tutorial. Hope that you learned something about painting sand, painting sandstone, and painting desert buildings. I'm really happy with how this build has turned out. It is an amazing set of scenery, and I really hope that you have enjoyed it and that you are interested in getting some of this stuff as well. Don't forget, hit like, hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.